My God, when was the last time you guys got 3 videos out of me in like a 15-hour span? What's going on, guys? Major breaking news today on this Tuesday regarding WWE, their future for Monday Night Raw, and a brand new seat on the board of directors in TKO. So as it turns out, here in San Diego on WWE Day 1, when The Rock said and asked the fans if he should sit at the head of the table, he wasn't talking about the head of the Bloodline table. He was talking about TKO. Holy crap. We had a tsunami wave of wrestling news hitting us today. 2 big stories basically dropping simultaneously, with WWE Raw now moving to Netflix and The Rock joining the TKO board of directors. Both of these stories have pretty huge implications on WWE's future. And in regards to The Rock, his involvement in TKO and the media rounds that he was making today is really giving me a big sigh of relief for WrestleMania. And now things are becoming a little bit clearer, because when The Rock first made that comment, we spent the last month freaking out, talking about when Rock and Roman Reigns could happen, Elimination Chamber, WrestleMania, Crown Jewel, your grandma's house. We didn't know where this was going to happen. I was in full-blown panic mode, worried about Cody's story. Now it's starting to look like WWE has had a plan in place all along, and the panic can probably stop. So I was kind of on the fence if this would qualify for a mic drop or a Greg Balls of Fire, but both of these stories kind of dropped simultaneously, so I'm going to basically consider them one big story. And we only have about an hour or so for me to be up here to talk about this, and then I have to bounce. But we were here last night to review Monday Night Raw and that amazing Cody Rhodes and CM Punk in-ring promo. And then just a couple of hours later, at midnight, I dropped my Hulk Hogan 40 Years of Hulkamania anniversary video that's now available on the channel right now. I please invite you guys after this stream to go check that out. I dropped it this morning, and it's a nice look back on Hulk Hogan's career, acknowledging the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I gave you guys full disclosure on my feelings on Hulk Hogan and all of that. But today, January 23rd, 2024 is the 40th anniversary of Hulk Hogan's victory over the Iron Sheik in Madison Square Garden that ushered in the era of Hulkamania in WWE and changed the business forever. So that video is up right now that you can check out. And now we're here to talk about the big news regarding WWE, Netflix, The Rock, and TKO. Wow, where to begin? I was trying to decide if I should start with The Rock or if we should start with WWE and Netflix, but I think we're going to start with The Rock. Let me go over here to the chat real quick and say hello to whoever is here. I only decided to do this stream about an hour and a half ago, so many of you might not even know that I'm up here doing this right now. But good to see How Wheezy and Victor Colon. You're my only channel members in here right now. Oh, so is Ben Espinoza. We got Denny Downbad. We got Danny, Jack Sharp, Chris Miner, Ram K, Trekopedia. Right on. Handful of you in here so far, so we'll let people kind of gather around. Please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Since nobody knows I'm here, it will be helpful to get those likes up to help the traffic on this video. But yeah, 2 big stories dropped today. I woke up, since I'm on the West Coast here, I'm up a little bit later. And these stories have been out for a couple of hours by the time I learned about them, so I'm not even sure which one really broke first. But the stories of the day are The Rock joining the TKO board of directors and WWE Raw now moving to Netflix starting in January 2025. And there's a lot to unpack there as well, since we now know finally where Raw is going to end up, and Raw is going to be leaving cable after 32 years on cable television, which is just wild. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But first, why don't we talk about The Rock? Because The Rock today, it was announced that he is going to be joining the TKO board of directors, and he is also in this agreement going to acquire the rights and the trademark to the Rock name. Now, of course, there was a big TKO filing really detailing this deal, but I'm going to kind of just paraphrase it a little bit. Here's a simplifying of the statement made by Brandon Thurston. It's a tweet from him today. They kind of simplified the TKO SEC filing. And I quote, coinciding with his appointment to the TKO board, Dwayne Johnson gains ownership of the Rock trademark, according to a TKO filing. He and WWE made a new contractor and merchandising agreement, licensing the trademark to WWE for use in pro wrestling for 10 years. Johnson gets $30 million in TKO stock, which will vest through December 2025. For the year of 2023, Johnson received $491,000 for his WWE appearances and merchandise royalties. He will continue to receive such royalties. So that's a lot. Just for his a couple appearances in 2023, he pulled in $500,000. And with this new venture of The Rock joining the TKO board, you really have to wonder, what this is going to mean for the future of WWE and now how much power Johnson will yield. Like, is The Rock Triple H's boss now? Like, how exactly does this work? And what really makes me, I guess, happy about this news is the fact that it appears, at least on the surface, and we don't know anything for sure yet, but it appears on the surface that any concern or worry that we had about Rock and Roman Reigns main eventing this year's WrestleMania and goofing up all of WWE's storyline plans doesn't seem like it's going to happen this year. And that really, really makes me happy. Now, like I said, after this announcement, they did the big New York Stock Exchange ceremony there with The Rock and Vince McMahon. No mustache on Vince. Nick Khan, of course, was there as well. And Nick Khan has been probably the single most important hire that WWE has ever made. A couple of years ago, when we heard about Nick Khan coming in and what he was being brought in to do, we were all under the assumption that he was going to be, the injection of the poison into the WWE, and this corporate asshole is going to murder everything. And it was actually the exact opposite. This guy has brokered some huge deals for the company, and he's been a perfect person to come in and step in and make these deals. For your Vince McMahons and other guys. And Nick Khan's been incredible. And he has a good relationship with The Rock already, which, probably didn't hurt his chances here getting on the TKO board either. So with The Rock now being a member of the board of directors, he went and made some media appearances today. He appeared on CNBC just to talk about, the financial aspects of the deal, but he also was on First Take on ESPN, where he talked to Stephen A. Smith, and that is where he was asked directly about a match with Roman Reigns and what that could mean. And The Rock said, he said, me, I'm a long gamer. That was the phrase that he used. I'm a long gamer. And he said, if we are able to get that done, if me and Roman are able to work at WrestleMania with a great team of people in this company, we believe that it could be the greatest WrestleMania match of all time. And just the way he was wording it and stating that did not sound like something that was going to happen this year, which really... I can breathe, because I did not want to see Cody's story get derailed, and that whole issue is getting more interesting after last night with the showdown between Cody and Punk in the ring. And the last thing I wanted to see was for Cody's story to be uprooted or blown up because The Rock has decided to come in, and then Rock making that head of the table line. That got us all really worried. I wish I could go back and, talk myself off the ledge on a couple of those podcasts there where I was really freaking out about what this could mean for WrestleMania and Elimination Chamber and all of that. And a lot of fans were like, this match can only be at WrestleMania and nowhere else. Well, guess what? Sounds like you're going to get your wish. It's just not going to be this year. And that makes me really happy. The fact that Rock is a long gamer. He's probably going to be involved maybe in this year's WrestleMania, like I've laid out in my last couple of podcasts. I would love for a scenario for The Rock to maybe not necessarily be in Cody's corner, maybe not even necessarily be an enforcer, but every single time Roman Reigns has successfully defended his title, including last year against Cody, he's had help from the bloodline. And the ultimate bloodline cock block would be for The Rock to come out there when Solo Sikoa jumps on the apron to spike Cody again and do a refinish, what's it called? do a remake of last year's finish, but this time The Rock jumps up and blocks the Samoan spike, knocks Solo off the apron. Cody grabs Roman. Trifecta of Crossroads, wins the title. Rock raises his hand, endorses Cody right after Cody got endorsed by Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. That would be a great way to do it. And then Roman Reigns can maybe blame The Rock for losing the title, even though Rock had nothing to do with it. All Rock did was prevent Roman Reigns from cheating like a bitch again. And then Roman blames him, and they set a course for WrestleMania 41, which would be perfect because that would keep, essentially, you would think Roman Reigns may be away from the championship if he's not really wrestling a lot anyway and he's not on TV after he drops the belt. Him and Roman can do a long, slow burn to WrestleMania 41 with a couple of appearances, and Roman can maybe even stay largely out of the championship picture. Like no Cody rematch or anything like that. He just kind of stays out of it since he was champ for so long, and we get a year plus without Roman Reigns as champion. That would be a great way to do it, and you can set up WrestleMania 41 wherever that show is going to be. I don't think we know yet. Maybe Minnesota, Arizona, anywhere with a roof on it. We'll see where that happens, but it sounds like next year is more of an option and a possibility than this year, and I cannot tell you how much relief that brings and showers over me. Now, here's what FightFul Select had to say about this situation today in a report that was posted a couple of hours ago. This is according to FightFul Select, and I quote, "There has been much discussion regarding The Rock, Rock and Cody Rhodes, who will face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, and how things will work out around what could be one of the biggest WrestleManias of all time. Images emerged from the WWE Raw Day 1 event here in San Diego of The Rock and Cody Rhodes embracing backstage. We're told it was right outside of the gorilla position and was caught on camera by both The Rock's team as well as WWE photographers. Several people were around to hear the exchange. We were told that the nature of the exchange, which was before The Rock's promo, was that of support to Cody Rhodes and what he's been doing. Those that we spoke to said that they got the feeling that The Rock wasn't there to stand in the way of anything, but did note that before his promo, most people did not know about his head of the table line. There had been word around WWE ahead of The Rock getting a board seat that WWE was trying to land him in some sort of contract or deal, but nobody expected anything to the scope of what happened on January 23rd. We're also told by sources close to The Rock that he's long been a proponent and supportive of Cody Rhodes, even while he was in All Elite Wrestling. So that is very, very promising news, I think, with The Rock. And it's something I even mentioned when Rock first but Rock returned earlier this month. One of the things I said, I'm like, would he really do that? Would he really have an ego so great that he's going to come in and just everybody's going to get out of the way for him? And they have storylines that they've worked hard for the last year to build, and have this culmination at WrestleMania, and now The Rock is going to come in and just monkey wrench this whole thing. Would he really do that? And it sounds like he's not that much of a dick. He supports and loves and appreciates Cody Rhodes. Apparently, even The Rock is on board with this guy finishing his story at WrestleMania, and whatever happens with The Rock and Roman Reigns sounds like it's going to be happening after the fact, and maybe The Rock's little tease of the head of the table was just to let the fans know that big things are coming. I think it was just the timing of it happening on January 1st. That what I was saying is, why would Rock say that if they weren't going to do a match? They're not going to tease us and blue ball us again. They've already teased a lot of matches that they have not delivered on. And with The Rock saying that, it's just not something I think they would say only to not give us that match again. But now it sounds like it could be more than a year away, unless The Rock and Roman Reigns plan to do this in Saudi Arabia or something like that. But based on The Rock's comments on First Take today, it does sound like if that match happens, WrestleMania is what The Rock envisions. WrestleMania is where The Rock envisions this match taking place. And then by the time we get to next year, and that's going to be a whole nother debate, if Rock and Roman are going into their match next year and neither guy is champion, that means, are they going to main event night 2? Are we going to do that match, main event night 2, give those guys the main event and not give it to the winner of the Rumble or whoever's challenging for a championship? Or does WWE feel, because they've done it before, Undertaker retired, technically, Shawn Michaels retired technically, both in the main events of WrestleManias, respectively, 26 and 33, I think. And that was not, they were not title matches. So WWE could do that again with Rock and Roman Reigns, but then again, they might feel like a title has to be on the line, and then maybe Roman Reigns wins the title before you get to WrestleMania 41. Who knows? Or maybe The Rock wins it. Maybe The Rock wins one more time and Roman beats him for it. I mean, shit. They did it in 2013, right? With The Rock beating CM Punk at the Royal Rumble and then dropping it to John Cena at WrestleMania. They might do something like that again. It might be Rock and somebody at the Royal Rumble next year. Rock beats him for the title, and then maybe Roman Reigns wins the Royal Rumble, and it's Rock and Roman for the championship at WrestleMania. That would be, I know it doesn't need the championship. I'm like, well, if it main events WrestleMania, I wouldn't hate it if a championship was involved. I'm not going to lie. So I'm not really sold on that match doesn't need the title. No, it doesn't, but it also wouldn't hurt if it was there. You know what I mean? Everybody's so black and white. I'm more like in the middle. I'm like, well, you could do it. Wouldn't be a big deal. So crazy news, man. Big news regarding The Rock today. But the one big takeaway that I've had from this ever since reading the story is that I'm feeling really good now about Cody's story. Even last night when we were watching Raw, that face-off between Cody Rhodes and CM Punk, I mean, I want that to be my WrestleMania match, to be honest with you. The way they put that together, and especially with the landscape right now, if Cody's going to finish his story and Punk's going to face Seth, it feels like Punk and Cody could really be far off. Like they might be on separate brands after WrestleMania if Cody's winning the title and goes to SmackDown, you know what I mean? So, and they might have to jumble up some titles. They might have to send the World Heavyweight title to SmackDown and bring Roman's belt to Raw. The Bloodline might come to Raw. There's a lot to think about there too, but it feels like Cody and CM Punk, at least in the immediate future, isn't possible unless they were to do this thing at WrestleMania or maybe even perhaps at Elimination Chamber. But I feel like Cody's probably going to win the Chamber or something like that. Maybe even putting Cody and Punk both in the Chamber, but that wouldn't make sense if Punk's going to win the Rumble. So we don't know. You had Gunther involved last night as well, getting in Seth Rollins' face when he was talking about his injury. So WWE's doing a great job of not making things super predictable. If Cody Rhodes, that's the plan, he's going to be celebrating with Pyro at the end of night 2. WWE's really making you think that there might be some twists and turns there along the way. And I was worried ever since last year's WrestleMania about the predictability of this year's WrestleMania. And based on everything we're seeing from WWE, I'm not feeling that predictability that much because CM Punk also came back and changed a lot of things as well. So we will see where all of this takes us, but based on today's news, I'm feeling very, very good about WrestleMania 40. And the storylines and the matches that I want to see get done really sound like they're going to get done, and The Rock isn't going to have too much of any negative effect on these at all. And that makes me happy. That makes me happy to see The Rock back, because the last thing I wanted to do was resent him. I don't want to resent The Rock. He's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. And if he would have came in here and fucked up Cody's story and taken a main event and just kiboshed and blown up all of WrestleMania's plans, I would have had a major issue with Dwayne, but now I really don't. If he's there and he's around and he's not fucking shit up, I welcome The Rock. Come out, say your little weird ass insults and stuff. Just don't fuck anybody's plans up. And now with The Rock being on the board of directors in TKO, that really kind of cements him as being back kind of in the family, sort of being a part of this on a more permanent basis. Because he's had a long movie career now too. What does he really have left to accomplish in movies? The dude's never going to win an Oscar. He's just an action star and he's getting older, so you can only make so many Fast and Furious type of movies. And so now maybe he's getting back into the business side of things now that he's getting older and getting back into, WWE's family. And I'm sure there were, personal reasons for him doing this too. He acquired the trademark to his name, The Rock, after all this time. And it's a big business deal for him. He kind of looks like Denzel out there with them glasses on, doesn't he? When I was seeing all the appearances by him today. I like that look. It's sexy. He could be the next Equalizer. Rock looks exactly like him. So I think this is good news. I don't see too many issues or potential problems with this, I see this only as positive. I'm not taking away much negativity from this news of The Rock joining the TKO board of directors at all. If anything, it's made me feel a lot better about WrestleMania and what the plans are now, and any Rock and Roman Reigns match that we are going to get in the future isn't going to have a negative effect on this year's WrestleMania, and that is really awesome. So there you go. Welcome to TKO Rock, and who knows what the future will hold with TKO and the business side of WWE now. And I think they're only going to get stronger, and they're only going to get bigger. And I'm not even sure if the merger with TKO is going to be their last merger, because also today it was announced that WWE is going to be moving Monday Night Raw to Netflix. Netflix is the landing spot. There was a big rumor about a week or two ago about Amazon Prime being the landing spot, and we talked about that a little bit. Netflix has been on the radar. We talked about them a lot last year, but I don't know if they were ever considered to be the front runner for WWE, and I'm not even sure if Netflix does live programming. Do they? Is there anything you can watch on Netflix that's live? I thought it was just TV shows and movies. So this is a really, really interesting move, and we're going to talk about that next. Let me cruise over here to the chat real quick. Also, if I could ask you guys to please smash that thumbs up button for me. If you're over here and you're not a subscriber, please subscribe as well. I would appreciate it. And let me just get over here. I know I got a super chat to answer from Michael Cuomo. Appreciate that $5 from earlier, dude. Yo, Greg in chat, heard this news while driving on the Parkway at 8 a.m. and still haven't absorbed this yet. Well, I haven't absorbed it yet either. That's why we're trying to absorb it together. Anybody else showing up? Good to see you guys today. Thank you so much for being here. I did shout outs earlier on, but we're now getting into the wrestling stuff. So thanks again, everyone, for being here, and welcome to this impromptu mic drop. We also had a mic drop being released today as well on the 40th anniversary of Hulkamania. We were up here last night reviewing Monday Night Raw and the Cody and Punk promo. So there's a lot of content on my channel right now, and we're not even done, because we'll be here on Friday to do a podcast and predict the Royal Rumble. And then on Saturday, we have our Royal Rumble watch party. So all that's coming this week. Stay tuned, like, subscribe, all that jazz. All right, so as it was reported today as well, in addition to the Rock and TKO news, WWE has now found its landing spot for WWE Raw. It will be on Netflix beginning in January of 2025. Now, this is this deal is wild. My God, this is a 10-year, $5 billion deal, and Netflix has an opt-out option after 5 years, or an option to add an additional 10 years once the first 10 years is up. So they can cancel the agreement after 5 and just cut their losses, or when the 10-year deal is up, they have an option just to add another 10 years. So there is a possibility that WWE Raw will be on Netflix until I am 67 years old. That's crazy. That is crazy. It's also wild that WWE Raw is leaving cable television after 32 years on cable TV. They will be leaving in January of 2025, and they debuted in January of 1993. Now, there is an issue here. WWE's current deal with Monday Night Raw on USA ends in October of this year. So there is going to be a gap between October 2024 and January 2025, where they don't know where Raw is going to air. According to Variety, this is a quote from them. They said exactly where Raw will air between the end of that deal and the beginning of the next Netflix deal, is still being determined. Now, I would like to think, since WWE already has a long-running relationship with the USA Network, that is going to be continuing with SmackDown moving to USA this fall as well on Fridays. I would hope that WWE and USA can work out an extension. That's what it would be crazy if WWE went to a completely different network for 3 or 4 months, or 3 months, and then went to Netflix, or streamed maybe on Peacock for 3 months. It's probably best if they just try to extend their USA deal a couple of more months. I don't know how you really work that out financially, but you would think something like that would be possible, given that WWE and USA's network's relationship is not ending. It's continuing with SmackDown. So hopefully that can get worked out there, and that's not going to be much of an issue. So landing on Netflix in 2025 is huge. Here is a snippet from the press release that was put out by WWE and Netflix today. This is just one paragraph I want to read, and I quote, beginning in January 2025, Netflix will be the exclusive new home of WWE Raw in the United States, Canada, the UK, and Latin America, among other territories, with additional countries and regions to be added over time. Likewise, as part of the agreement, Netflix will also become the home for all WWE shows and specials outside the U.S., as available, inclusive of Raw and WWE's other weekly shows, SmackDown and NXT, as well as the company's premium live events, including WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and the Royal Rumble. WWE's award-winning documentaries, original series, and forthcoming projects will also be available on Netflix internationally beginning in 2025. So that sounds like everybody outside of the U.S. that does not use Peacock to watch the PLEs and some of their other shows will be using Netflix. So that's kind of big because the current Peacock deal expires in 2026, apparently. So there's only about another year or two of Peacock, and that will leave a lot of years left on WWE's deal with Netflix when the Peacock deal is up. And you have to wonder if WWE is going to try to consolidate as much stuff under one umbrella as possible. I personally would be fine with that, but from business strategy perspective, I don't know what's best there. If you want to spread your shit out across multiple platforms to make it more accessible, or if you want a one-stop shop. For me personally, as a fan, I'd prefer a one-stop shop, but WWE might be able to, expand or get more money if they spread things out a bit. So I would think that when the Peacock deal expires in 2026, and since already the PLEs and the other stuff is already going to be on Netflix internationally, that there's a really good chance that the PLEs could also move over to Netflix as well. And if WWE is going to have a presence on a streaming platform, I personally would just prefer it be one. So hopefully, I'm hoping anyway, nobody likes Peacock anyway. I'm hoping that in a couple years, Peacock, all the content there is transferred over to Netflix, and we're watching our WrestleManias and our PLEs over there from now on. Now, this puts WWE, they have a presence now on cable TV, network TV, and a streaming platform, with them being on Peacock, with WWE Raw going to Netflix. The CW Network has NXT, and SmackDown will be going to the USA Network this fall as well. So WWE is really, really out there in a lot of different areas in terms of, content consumption. And I'm just curious about the future of WWE on on Netflix, excuse me. And with these options, WWE is going to want to make sure. I mean, I would think WWE is going to try to avoid Netflix wanting to opt out. So you would think that over the next 5 years, it's really going to be important to WWE to provide really, really good quality content. So Netflix doesn't want to bail on this deal, and WWE could maybe really find a home there. And Netflix, makes the most sense. They're the industry leader, for the most part. You guys might know better than me. Who's the industry leader right now? Is it Netflix or Amazon or Disney Plus or whatever? I feel like it would be Netflix above Hulu and everybody else, but shit, I don't know. But WWE going there really does seem like it's a good move in terms of, the power and the reach that Netflix has. And with WWE merging with TKO and The Rock being on the board, and the Netflix deal, shit, maybe one day we get Netflix and TKO coming together, to merge in some big super company. Who knows? The business and the industry is changing greatly, and I'm half freaked out and half excited, but at least now we know where WWE Raw will be going. It will be going to Netflix starting in January 2025. So that's about a year away from now, and that's going to be interesting. Now, here's some other interesting tidbits about WWE Raw on Netflix. Now, this is according to Alex Sherman from CNBC. He revealed the following in a tweet, and I quote, "A new detail from the Netflix Raw deal: for Netflix subs that don't get ads, Raw matches will be scripted around commercial breaks. So you'll get some non-important match action, sustained headlocks, instead of commercials. You won't get ads." So that's great, because I hate ads. Any streaming platform that I can pay for a premium service on, I have. I haven't watched a YouTube ad in years. The only ads or commercials I ever see is when I'm actually watching a cable station. And I never have to deal with them on Peacock or anything. I really, really, really hate ads. I just have a phobia against them, a pet peeve against them. So I hate them, and I always pay for premium services just so I don't have to sit through that shit. So I'm very happy that they're there's not going to be any commercials now on Monday Night Raw. That's going to be weird. Hopefully they won't do what they did when they were in the Thunderdome and everybody just stood around during the commercial breaks. But that's going to be interesting. That's going to be a different way to watch Monday Night Raw, and it's going to essentially make every Monday Night Raw a fucking pay-per-view when you're watching a 3-hour wrestling show with no ad breaks. I think that's going to be kind of awesome as well. It's going to be basically like you're there, because even when you're in the live crowd, those of you who have attended Raws and SmackDowns before, even when you're in the crowd, you can tell when they're on commercial break. I mean, a lot of times the Titantron goes dark, or sometimes you can just tell based on what they're doing in the ring. Oh, there's no way this is airing on TV right now. Everybody at home is watching a dishwashing detergent commercial. So that's kind of interesting, and it will be interesting to see how that goes once it moves over to Netflix. And who knows, maybe we'll bring back some Raw watch-alongs next year and start watching them on Netflix together. Who knows? But that's it's really interesting. These two big stories kind of coinciding, going hand in hand today, which really makes you think and wonder about the future of WWE. And they have really locked themselves up to be successful for a minimum of the next decade. And now that WWE's deal for Raw has been settled, now, maybe we can start thinking about AEW, because there was some talk about Warner Brothers Discovery maybe wanting to make a play for WWE Raw. But at the same time, Warner Brothers Discovery themselves have been touting their own satisfaction with AEW programming and the success that it's had. So you feel like an extension is on the horizon over there as well. And they really need a streaming deal too, in order to keep up, in my mind. So I feel like for the past couple of years now, we've been talking about AEW reaching a deal to be on a streaming platform. A lot of people have HBO Max kind of pegged for that, and that would be awesome. That would be great for pro wrestling. If we turn around here in the next several weeks or months and we get an announcement from AEW and Warner Brothers Discovery about an extension and perhaps a streaming deal for HBO Max, where they can put all the Ring of Honor shit and all the video and all their past pay-per-views and anything else like that, and then you've got got Raw on Netflix, you've got AEW on Max. Both companies have a cable presence and a streaming presence. It's relatively simplified for fans to be able to find and consume the content. I really, really like that. So I'm hoping that AEW, obviously they're not going to be getting, $5 billion deals from their rights deals, but if they can land an extension with Warner Brothers Discovery and get on a streaming platform, I think that's going to be really, really positive and healthy for the wrestling business. And I hope that they turn around with some nice news of their own here in the next few weeks, because this is big. This is big and this is exciting. I'm happy to see The Rock kind of back into the fold. It feels like he left wrestling to go be a movie star, and now he might be backing away from that to, kind of get back into this, because does this guy really need to be making more movies? But he's probably going to do both. He's probably going to do everything, and The Rock is probably going to be a muscular 80-year-old dude making action movies and wrestling at WrestleMania. So exciting day, really, really exciting last 24 hours from last night's Raw up until today. Let's see what you guys have to say about this stuff in the chat here. We'll hang out for a little while, and then I will be getting out of here. Paul E., cable is dying anyway. Streaming took over a long time ago. This move is just looking for the future. Yeah, cable kind of is dead. I mean, I haven't had a cable service in a long time. It's probably been about 10 years now since I've had. It was basically, I think I canceled my cable around the time the WWE Network came around, because I didn't have to order any pay-per-views like off of cable TV or whatever. So I think it was probably around 2013 or 2014 that I abandoned cable altogether. Haven't had it since. I stream cable channels on a streaming app, so on my Roku. So I basically stream everything. And then we've got Hulu and Netflix and Peacock, and I've got YouTube Premium. I've got premium everything. So I like that we're moving away from that, because I'm an old man and I remember all the money I had to spend on my cable bill back in the day. I used to have super expensive cable bills. I mean, all my pay channels and having a cable box, and then I'd order WWE pay-per-views and sometimes WCW pay-per-views, and how expensive and ridiculously expensive cable got. A lot of people started cutting the cord and just moving on to streaming stuff. And as long as I can consume all the content I want to consume, I'm not going to get something that I don't need. So, at this point, I still have cable, I guess, for sports and Super Bowl and everything. And well, even that's on network. But my streaming app for cable is something I'm probably going to keep, but I don't know for how much longer. I'm glad cable is dying. Not a huge Netflix fan, but money talks, I suppose. Yeah, see, I don't know what would make somebody not a Netflix fan. I just look at all these platforms as just simply streaming platforms that I can click my remote on and watch a movie on. I don't know what makes them bad or what upsets people about them. Maybe some of their business practices, perhaps. But in terms of my use of most of these platforms, I use Peacock. It is kind of a pain in the ass trying to locate stuff. But once you get the hang of it, you know. And I've been able to find everything I've needed to find for the most part. And I actually think, for me, it's easier to watch. It might be easier to watch Netflix than on Amazon Prime because I feel like I might use Netflix a little bit more. I don't know. I don't know how it's all going to work out, but I am definitely not. I'm definitely not upset or worried in any way about today's news. I think both stories can be looked at in really, really positive lights. With The Rock now potentially probably not being here to fuck up this year's WrestleMania plans. And we now have an answer as to where WWE is going to land Raw, which platform it's going to be sending Raw to when its current deal expires. And getting these two stories back to back is, making me feel pretty optimistic for the future. So I kind of liked today's news. It was good stuff. Good stuff, man. Oh, you get glitches? Okay. Well, hopefully there's no glitches when Raw is on. Harry Rice said it would be the fact that they've taken away the ability to share your account with people. Okay. Plus the whole cuties controversy still rubs people the wrong way. At least those are my guesses. Well, I don't even know what the cuties controversy is. I don't even know if I want to know. But I didn't realize they've taken away the ability to share your account. See, I've never really shared my account with anybody either. I just have my own shit. So, yeah, that probably sucks. Because I know with YouTube, like I have YouTube Premium, I can share like 5 accounts with that and stuff. So, yeah, I guess that's not ideal. Sounds like Regal is returning to NXT soon. And also, I forgot who it was in the chat last night. We were doing the Raw review last night, and somebody mentioned in the chat that Kevin Patrick is reported to be leaving SmackDown, but I had no source for that. I'm like, well, who knows where you even got that fucking information? So I kind of discredit it. And I'm like, I'm not online right now. I'm not really seeing anything. I go to the trusted sources that I go to. Once they say something, maybe I'll mention it, but I wasn't sure how valid it was. Turns out that it is. Sounds like Kevin Patrick is going to be booted off the SmackDown commentary team. Things just aren't working out there. And a lot of people have been mentioning Mauro Ranallo lately. Mauro Ranallo is not everybody's cup of tea. Some people don't like him, but he brings an incredible energy, and I think he would be fun to come back on SmackDown. It's a much different environment from when he was there before, and any reasons that caused him to leave last time probably aren't there anymore. And I think that would be awesome, but we'll see if Michael Cole is going to go back to doing double duty for a while or what they're going to do over on SmackDown, but it does sound like Kevin Patrick is out. It also sounds like Okada is going to be coming to WWE, most likely. Most people are believing that he is going to be reporting to NXT and get started there. Okada working for Shawn Michaels is just nuts. But maybe they just want to get him there, get him acclimated to WWE style for a little bit, and then boom, you're right on the main roster, ready to rock and roll. I'm sure he doesn't need to go to NXT. He doesn't need to go to NXT to learn how to wrestle. Okay, we understand that. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world, but he's going to be coming into an environment and a level of television production that he's not used to, and having a little miniature training ground to get used to that is not a bad thing. So it doesn't mean WWE thinks he needs to be trained or anything like that. It just means, if he does report or show up in NXT at all, it's just to get his feet wet. That's it. And there's nothing at all wrong with that before people start flipping their lid, because they will. So just chill out, think it through, have an Eskimo pie and a Coke, and don't lose your mind. That's my advice. Yeah, Max, I'm with you too. When I read that story about The Rock, embracing Cody, endorsing Cody, and a lot of people, even last night in the promo with CM Punk, in a lot of ways, CM Punk was endorsing Cody. He told him he was proud of him and all of that. So I think Cody getting to WrestleMania night 2, winning the title is great. And I really, I do like my idea of using The Rock as the ultimate neutralizer. And I was worried at first about, people were saying, oh, The Rock should be the enforcer and help Cody win. And I'm like, I don't want to see that. I don't want Rock getting involved in that. But then when you think about it, it actually would make storyline sense, since Roman Reigns has survived all of his title defenses due to the outside interference of the bloodline. And you have The Rock coming in there and clock blocking them. forcing Roman Reigns to get it done on his own, and then Cody beats him. Roman Reigns is going to blame The Rock for that, and that actually could work. So that's one way of getting The Rock involved in Cody's match without like stealing the thunder or taking away from the moment or helping Cody win because he couldn't do it on his own. None of that. Cody can handle Roman on his own. It's the 15 fucking family members and Paul Heyman at ringside that he has a problem with. So I think this year would be a great way, because last year, WrestleMania 39, I was there in the audience, watched it live when Solo hit that spike on Cody. That was just like, they did it again. Like, how many fucking times are they going to do this? And I think that has really bothered fans all year. So I would really like to see some sort of a finish where the same thing is attempted. And it's Solo up there with a Samoan spike, and then Rock, stops him. Maybe he pulls him, because I think Solo jumped up in the apron last year, right, to hit Cody. So maybe like the same thing happens. Rock yanks his legs, off the apron and then hits him with a rock bottom through the table. And then Cody takes care of Roman in the ring. 1, 2, 3 after 3 crossroads and celebrates. And he gets the endorsement from The Rock raising his hand. I would love that. I would absolutely love that. I would love for The Rock to raise his hand and then get the fuck out of the ring. Raise his hand, point to him, roll under the bottom rope, and bounce, and let Cody have his moment. Let him soak it in and make your man. Make your fucking man. And if CM Punk, finishes his story on night 1, then you got one hell of a, double champion thing going on there. But Punk's popularity is making me question whether or not I'm going to be right about my belief that when CM Punk and Seth Rollins step into the ring together for the first time, that Seth Rollins beats him. It might not be that way based on the effect and the impact CM Punk has had since coming in. Although I do think he's going to win the Royal Rumble. I think CM Punk should. And we're going to be doing our predictions on the Royal Rumble this coming Friday. We're going to be up here at the same time we went live today, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. We will talk about tomorrow night's AEW Dynamite. We will talk about any new information that we might learn about WWE Raw moving to Netflix and The Rock joining TKO and what that could mean for WrestleMania and the future. We'll get into all of that, and we will predict the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. All of that coming to you on Friday. In the meantime, check out last night's Raw review. Check out today's video that dropped on the 40th anniversary of Hulkamania. Gotten a lot of good feedback on that video, a lot of private tweets saying I loved it, so check it out. It's 40 minutes long. It's a lot of fun. And then we will be here at the end of the week to predict and to watch the Royal Rumble together. It's going to be a wild, wild week, and it's been a wild, wild day. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I got to get out of here because I have to go to work and do all that type of stuff today. And have a great rest of your afternoon. Thank you so much, and have fun kind of absorbing and processing this big double news story that broke today. I'm still reeling from it, man. It's crazy. You guys have a good rest of your week.